Hello friends, I am Professor Wayam Khan, and in today's video we will see the last case of the two-phase method. And in this last case of two-phase method for solving the LPP, the condition is your objective function becomes 0 at the end of your phase 1. The objective function, that is your minimized W, becomes 0 and one or more artificial variables are present in the basis column with a 0 level. Whenever I am saying a 0 level, that means the value of B for that respective variable or for that respective artificial variable is 0. So such a kind of case can be solved using two-phase method in the phase number 2. Okay, now in this particular case we take the solution of phase 1, the final solution of phase 1, as the starting solution, as the starting problem for phase 2, and we assigned a 0 coefficient to the artificial variable in the objective function. Okay, now the artificial objective function is solved using phase 1. In phase 2 we replace the artificial objective function with the original objective function, and then we solve that particular table using the simplex method. So we will see how to solve such a kind of problem, or how to handle such a kind of situation. Now the problem given to us is solve by two-phase method, maximize Z is equals to this particular function. This is your objective function, 2x1 plus x2 plus 1 by 4 x3. Now this particular objective function is subject to some constraints, and these constraints are 4x1 plus 6x2 plus 3x3 less than or equal to 8, 3x1 minus 6x2 minus 4x3 less than or equal to 1, and 2x1 plus 3x2 minus 5x3 greater than or equal to 4. Now whenever the less than or equal to constraints appear, less than or equal to inequalities appear in your constraint, we add slack variables to it, and whenever greater than or equal to appears, we subtract surplus variable, and as well as we use artificial variable in this particular constraint. So introducing, first step is your setting up the standard format. Okay, now introducing slack, surplus and artificial variables. This will be your S1, this will be your S2, this will be your S3, and there will be one artificial variable in this same constraint. So your constraint becomes, after introducing the artificial variables, your constraints looks like this. See, we have added S1 here, we have added S2 here, we have subtracted S3 here, as well as we have added A1 here. So artificial variable is only one. So your objective function is nothing but, the new objective function is nothing but summation of your artificial variables. So there is only one artificial variable, therefore the artificial objective function is minimize W is equals to A1. Now if it would have been there would have been multiple artificial variables, then it would have been the summation of these multiple artificial variables. Now the standard form of phase 1, all of you know that we use 0 coefficients for the remaining variables, and we use one A1 with its original coefficient, that is 1. That is your minimized W is equal to 0x1 plus 0x2 plus 0x3 plus 0s1 plus 0s2 plus 0s3 plus A1, and which is subject to this particular constraints, where x1, x2, x3, s1, s2, s3 and A1 is greater than or equal to 0. And now we'll find the initial basic feasible solution by putting some of the variables equal to 0. So if I put your s1, s2, s3 equal to 0, I'll get the value of a1, as well as if I put the x1, x2, x3 equal to 0, I'll get, sorry, if I put s2, so if I put s3 equal to 0, I'll get the value of a1, as well as I have to put x1, x2, x3 equal to 0 to get the value of a1 as well as s1 as well as s2. So I'll put x1, x2, x3 and s3 equal to 0 in the above constraints. So after putting it, I get the value of s1 equal to 8, s2 equal to 1 and a1 equal to 4. So these values and these coefficients are to be put into the simplex table, and that simplex table is to be solved. Okay, now after putting it into the simplex table, we all of you know that this particular row represents the coefficient of objective function. Our objective function is only a1, so a1 is equals to your 1. Now remaining constraints are written here. All of you know how to write these constraints. We have written the coefficients of s1, s2 and a1 in the CB column. We have written their values in B column. So whenever s1 is equal to whenever we are saying that what is the value of s1, so we see at this column number, we see at this column B and we see this particular number, so that is the value of s1. Okay, now we'll find zj. Zj is nothing but the multiplication of CB into Aij and the summing up all the CB into Aij. So this CB into Aij, CB into 0 into 4 plus 0 into 3 plus 1 into 2, so this is 2, this will be 3, this will be minus 5, 0, 0, minus 1, 1 and this will be 4. Okay, so this is your Zj, and after subtracting this Zj from Cj, you get the value of Cj minus Zj. So this is a common procedure that we have followed in last few numericals. Now in this particular numerical, I have to pay attention to this particular a1 variable only, because we are dealing with a case where this variable does not get removed from the table and is having 0 level at this particular B column. Now since this Cj minus Zj, since this is a minimization problem, so every Cj minus Zj should be 0, either they should be 0 or positive, but we see 2 negative values here, that means this solution is not optimal. So we have to iterate towards optimality. So doing that, we have to select the most negative of Cj minus Zj, that is minus 3 here. Then we have to find the value of theta. The theta is nothing but your B divided by the key column. This k is nothing but your key column, that means your x2 is your incoming variable, this x1 will appear somewhere here. Okay, and some of these variables will get removed on the basis of theta, so you have to select the least positive theta for the leaving variable. Now if I see here, we have 4 by 3, that is a positive value, we have minus 1 by 6 and another 4 by 3. So we have a tie between these two thetas. Okay, they both are same and both are least positive. So if such a kind of tie happens, you can select arbitrarily, you can select this one also and you can select this one also as a key row. Now if I select this one as a key row, a1 will be your leaving variable, so a will get removed from here, so the problem will become you can say less iterative. It may get solved very soon. Okay, and if I select this one 4 by 3, S1 is your leaving variable, whereas A1 is still there. It is possible that A1 may not leave the table, okay, but since we have to study how your A1 remains in this basis column and how this level becomes 0, okay, so we select this particular 4 by 3. We select the first row as a key row, okay, because we want to explore the various conditions, the various cases of the two-phase method. That's why we are using this particular row as a key row. So S1 will get removed now and X2 will replace it. So coefficient of X2 will also be put here in your next table. So in this is the first this is the initial basic feasible solution of phase 1. Now iterating towards optimality, we have selected key column, we have selected key row, we have found the key element. Now this key element is to be made 1. The remaining elements in the column have to be made 0. So this will become 1, this will become 0, this will become 0 by suitable row transformation. So you have to watch the previous videos how to perform these row transformations, okay. So let's see how the iteration comes. Now this is the iteration of the previous table. Now in this particular table we get X2 here. X2 is now entered into the basis column, okay. S1 has left this particular table. Now the coefficient of X2 is written here. Similarly this one is made unity. So everything in a way to make this unity, we had divided the whole row by 6. So everything gets changed here. Now this S2, this particular element has to be made 0. Now in a way to make it 0, we have performed particular row operation. So everything is changed here. Similarly the values of A1 row has also been changed. Now if you see the value of A1 or the level of A1 here is 0, okay. I have particularly highlighted this particular variable and its value in B column. So it says A1 is equals to 0, and A1 is nothing but your objective function of the phase 1. Yes, you have written minimize W equal to A1. So W is equals to A1, A1 is equals to 0. That means your W mean is nothing but 0 here. Now if you see the value of Cj minus Zj here, everything is positive or 0. That means this solution is optimal for phase 1. This is the optimal basic solution for the phase 1, since all the values are positive or 0. So the phase 1 is now complete. But in phase 1 we have one artificial variable which is to be taken care of. Now this artificial variable should not be present here, and if it is present it should have a 0 level. So the third case is happening here. A1 is present here and we have a 0 value of that A1. So however, since W mean A1 is equals to 0 and artificial variable appears in the basis with 0 level, the given problem may or may not be a feasible solution to the original problem. This can be a possible solution or it cannot be a possible solution. Now to check whether it is an optimum solution to the original problem, we will move towards phase 2 by keeping this A1 in objective function as a 0. Now we'll replace these values of Cj with original coefficients of original objective function, and we'll keep this A1 will be treated as 0 here, okay. This will be 0 here. Now the next phase 2 table will look like something this. We have replaced the values of Cj with the original values of objective function. The original objective function is 2x1 plus x2 plus 1 by 4 x3, 0 plus 0 s1 plus 0 s2 plus 0 s3, and this particular a1 is also kept 0 here. Now the remaining table is same as that of the previous table. Okay, now simply we'll find the value of zj, the value of cj minus zj, the value of theta. If any of the cj minus zj is negative, then one of the cj minus zj, now this is sorry, now the original function is of maximization. Original function is of maximization, therefore we have to search such a kind of cj minus zj where all the values are 0 or negative. But in this particular case, one of the cj minus zj is positive, so selecting the most positive value of cj minus zj. For the next iteration, selecting the theta, least positive theta, selecting the key element. Okay, now x1 is your incoming variable, s2 is your outgoing variable, so x1 appears here, its respective coefficient will appear here, this 7 will become 0 1, this remaining two values will be made 0, and the remaining row values of the row will also be changed by the particular row transformation. So the next table appears like this, and it is having the value of cj of original function. Now we have replaced this x1 with your s2, since this was your outgoing variable originally, x1 is incoming variable. Now we have computed zj, cj minus zj. Now we see the value of cj minus zj are either 0 or negative, so this is your optimal solution, optimal feasible solution for the original problem. Okay, now we simply compute the values of your objective function, that is your z mean. So z max is 64 by 21. Now it can be computed by this one also. x1 is equals to 9 by 7, x2 is equals to 10 by 21, x1 is equals to 9 by 7, a1 is equal to 0, x3 is equal to 0. So z max appears, if you compute the value of z max, it is 64 by 21. So the solution we have obtained it, but even there was an artificial variable present in this particular basis column. It was at 0 level, it have not affected any kind of computation, so it is as good as 0, and therefore the solution can be solved using phase 2, okay, of the two-phase method. Now this is it, the two-phase method is over, and thanks for watching the video. Stay safe, stay at home, keep learning and stay healthy. Thank you.